Today we're jumping into a recent discovery about the absolute limits of self-healing systems, and let me tell you, what they've found is going to challenge everything you think you know about resilience. So let's get right into it.
So it really all comes down to this one kind of weird question. We build all these complex networks, power grids, traffic systems, financial models, and we build them to be resilient, to bounce back. But what if the very act of trying to recover could actually make things catastrophically worse? Okay, and this is the number that just stopped everyone in their tracks. In this groundbreaking simulation of a perfectly adaptive, self-healing network, this was the final recovery score after it got hit. Not a small dip, not even zero recovery, but a full 20% worse than before it even tried to fix itself.
Right? So how does that even happen? How does a system that's designed for perfection end up failing so spectacularly? Well, to figure it out, we're going to have to treat this like we're solving a mystery. And our first clue is to understand why anyone would want to build this thing in the first place. The whole point here wasn't just to build something tough. It was to build something, well, smart. Something that could actually think on its feet and repair itself in real time. At the heart of all this is what we call an adaptive system. And the idea is actually pretty simple, but man, it's powerful. Imagine a power grid during an outage. Instead of just shutting down, it instantly reroutes power, isolating the damage before you even notice your lights flicker. That's the dream we're talking about.
So to make that dream happen, you basically need three key ingredients. First up, coherence. That's just a fancy way of saying, are all the individual pieces doing what they're supposed to? Second, topology. How are all those pieces connected? A smart layout can help contain damage. And third, latency. This one's a biggie. How fast can the system spot a problem and actually do something about it? Keep that last one in your back pocket because it's going to be super important later.
But, before you can even dream of building a system this advanced, you have to understand the basic rules of the game. And in this case, that meant solving one of the most notoriously difficult problems in all of math. The massive roadblock was trying to predict flow. Any adaptive system, whether it's managing data packets or electricity, has to deal with the rules of flow, which can be just chaotic. For more than 100 years, we just didn't have the complete rulebook for how turbulence works. The breakthrough? A complete, honest-to-goodness solution for the 3D Navier Stokes equations. Yeah, one of those legendary Millennium Prize problems.
And look, this isn't just some abstract math thing. This solution is literally the ultimate rulebook for how stuff flows. It proved that even inside all that chaos, there are these fundamental laws of smoothness that you just can't break. With this rulebook in hand, the researchers could finally build their system, and they knew the precise physical limits it had to play by.
All right, so the stage is set. They had the math, they had the system design. It was time to put it under some real pressure and see what happened.
So they ran the experiment in 3 stages. First, just the basics. Can it actually change its own structure? Then they cranked up the complexity to see if that caused any hidden problems. And then the main event. They hit it hard with a direct, targeted shock to see how it would handle a real crisis.
And this is where our whole story just takes a completely unexpected turn. That final test, the one that was supposed to show off how strong this thing was, yeah, that's exactly where it all went wrong.
And this slide just lays out the paradox perfectly. On the one hand, it kind of worked. It built what the paper calls a structural firewall. It successfully walled off the damage. Awesome, right? But at the exact same time, it failed, big time. Its attempt to fix the problem fast was so aggressive that it created a whole new, even worse problem. It literally broke the fundamental rules of flow it was supposed to follow. Really, the best way to think about it is the system panicked. It got hit, and its programming just started screaming, fix it now. It started rewiring itself like a maniac, trying to recover at a speed that was just physically impossible. It was trying to outrun its own physics. And that brings us to the big takeaway, the key concept from this whole study, kinetic overshoot. This isn't about the system being weak. It's all about speed. It's that moment when the active healing becomes its own problem, when it causes more damage than the thing it was trying to fix. The system literally shot past the goal and made everything worse. So this failure, it wasn't just some glitch in the simulation. It actually pointed to something really deep, a fundamental rule about all kinds of complex systems. You could almost call it a universal speed limit on getting better.
Okay, let's just look at the raw data for a second, because it tells the whole story. Check it out. Phase 1, just changing its shape gave it 0 speed boost. None. Phase 2, making it more complex, actually slowed it down a little bit. And then Phase 3, when it went all out for speed, boom, a negative 20% recovery. The numbers don't lie. The faster it tried to be, the more unstable it got.
Which all leads us to this one final, really profound takeaway. True optimal resilience. It's not just about being strong, and it's definitely not just about being fast. It's all about finding that perfect balance between the two. So that leaves us with one last thing to chew on. If this universal speed limit on healing exists in a computer simulation, where else does it show up in our world? Seriously, think about it. An economy trying to recover too fast and sparking crazy inflation. An ecosystem that we try to fix too aggressively only to make it worse. What about our own immune systems when they overreact? It really seems like for any complex system, that urge to fix things right now might just be the most dangerous one of all.